on the range today, on the rifle range, doing the basic precision rifle class with Foulkon Group. And Steve Red is out here today, and Steve is shooting an M1 Grand open sights. And I asked Steve if he would just to tell us a little bit about the M1 and this particular one, and just tell us a little bit about it, Steve.
Well, the M1 in general was adopted by the military in the late 1930s. It replaced the old bolt action 1903 Springfield that we had used since World War I. And it was designed by a guy, John Garand, who actually was a Canadian American. He had lived in Canada and moved back here. He was working for Springfield Armory and developed it. And through all kinds of changes and reiterations over the years, they finally came up with the model as we all know it, chambered 30-06. They wanted to shoot the same caliber as the old 1903 because it had so much of that ammo on stock. And this particular one was manufactured by Springfield Armory in 1942, so early in World War II. And then it was rebarreled after the war because it has a Springfield Armory 1946 barrel. And most of the M1s that went all the way through World War II got rebarreled after the war because the 30-06 ammo at that time was still all corrosive. And most of the bores were shot out. Guys put thousands and thousands of rounds in them and couldn't always clean them the way they needed to, especially for using corrosive ammo. And they put a bunch of them up in arms rooms, reissued a bunch of them, put some in cold storage in barrels full of grease, sent them all over the world to allied countries and countries that were our allies at the time that no longer are. One of the big treasure troves of M1s that all the M1 shooters would like to see back that we'll probably never see again is like 100,000 of them in Iran. They were our ally.
Tell me about this particular rifle. How did you come about this rifle?
Back in the day, they had a program called the Director of Civilian Marksmanship, DCM.
Yep.
That was part of the Department of the Army. And you could go to a range and shoot a qualifying round and had to fill out a big packet of information and send in a fingerprint card you had done at the police station.
Yep.
Nolan Jones out at Brookhaven fingerprinted me.
Worked with him for
92 or 93.
15 years, old Nolan.
And long drawn out process, and there was a lot of restrictions on it. You could only ever buy one. If you bought one, you weren't ever allowed to sell it. And,
so you can't sell me that gun?
I probably could now because they changed the rules on it.
Is it for sale though?
No, it's not.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being here and telling us about the M1. Thanks. Foulkon Group Tactical.